What's up, Earth? Shout out to Gary Vee for inspiring this frequency and posture within me. And I gotta speak my truth, man. And even he says, what's the key? What's the secret? Work. He also says the key and the secret is self-awareness. And I would say that that's more of a secret than work, because what if you're working in the wrong direction? What if you have someone else's idea of what success is in your head, defining as your compass where you're going? What leads up to someone deciding to commit suicide? This question froze me for a while, because I had a friend who took his life, and I was really close, and I contemplated for a long time. It was a thought that was in my head every day for several years. Why? Because I didn't know myself? More so because I wanted to be something I wasn't. More so because there were so many reference points, meaning people and things in the world that I can refer to, reference points. There were so many reference points of what I wasn't that I was attending to, my attention was on, and I wasn't able to see who I was because I was too busy looking at what I wasn't. This is, to me, this is the core, this is the beginning of what FOMO really is. If you're on this channel for the first time, if you're coming back, either way, I appreciate you tuning in. My mission is to assist others in eradicating the FOMO virus from their system. That's how I look at it. I look at FOMO as a virus, and it's in your mind, or it's in your metaphysiological makeup, meaning it's not just your physical, it's not just your mental, but it might be your emotional, spiritual entirety of your makeup. You're not just your body. You're in the idea of a yogic lineage of thinking. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body. And if you think that you're the body, you're gonna get confused. And you're gonna look at other bodies, and you're gonna compare your body to their body. You're gonna try to be like their body. And ultimately, this is all energy. This is all energy spreading out to these things that don't fucking matter. And they're taking from you. They're leeching from you. They're parasitic. And how are you being leached on? Through your ego. What's the ego? I have other videos describing what the ego is, and there's other people to describe what the ego is. If you don't interface well with someone like Carl Jung's description of it, Jordan Peterson has great descriptions of it, Bentinho Massaro has great descriptions of it. I have my own lens on what it is and how to maneuver through it, past it, and integrate it into who you are as a soul. What your soul says about what you're really here for. And what Dharma means as a Sanskrit word that points at the mission statement that the Creator imprinted your human vessel with, that tells you why you're here. And why am I lit about it? Because I know people that are depressed. I know people that are confused. I know people that are pretending like they figured shit out because it's a mask to cover up their insatiable insecurity and vulnerability and terror, that they don't know what the fuck to do with their life. And they have, one dream, and they're moving towards it, but is passing a billboard, and it's like a barely clothed woman, and she's insinuating some things with her body posture. And it's like, y'all, we're in a dimension where spiritual warfare, I was gonna say it runs things. It doesn't run things, but it's a huge component of the energy that is perpetuating the loops and cycles that are preventing us from our highest evolutionary spiral upward. Meaning, spiral downward is away from our spiral upward. Up and down is a relative metaphorical reference to expansion. The universe expands and it contracts. We expand and we contract. When we have a moment where we could grow and we could expand, and instead we contract, we're going down. we're going away from who we really are. We're going away from our spirit's potential, from our soul's potential of integrating new lessons and new awarenesses into the now, into who we know ourselves to be. We avoid that, and we miss out on that opportunity, and we stay stuck. So when people say, oh, I'm not missing out, are you though? Are you really not missing out? And that, if you're not, then this you shouldn't be watching this. If you're not, and maybe you're on a similar mission to me, and you feel called to engage in this mission because there's so many out there who are lost and who are pretending that they're not lost. It's so confusing as to where to put yourself amongst all of it. And then you have the feeling that you're missing out on time with friends, and so then you're like, oh well, I need to go and be social. But then you go to that and you feel like, oh man, I missed out on that opportunity to get a little extra sleep because now I got to show up to work in the morning and I'm a little tired and my day is now shit because I was late for work because I wanted extra more sleep, or or I needed coffee, and the coffee ended up being extra time, so I was extra late, and that involves some extra drama, and then traffic, and then all because of these little choices that we make. And so you're not missing out on anything, maybe, but that's only for you to know, because the world, this dimension, this earth dimension, this earth world, is a mirror for your soul to know itself. That's what I've come to know. And why am I passionate about speaking about this? Because I wanted to kill myself at one point. I knew people killed themselves. I just recently found out that I had a grandpa who killed himself that I never met. It might have been a great grandpa actually. But, you know, I have, shit in my ancestral karmic Akashic field that insinuates this dilemma of where to identify with and what to identify with and who to identify as in this experience. And if you're experiencing yourself only in context to the other people, that's mostly as your ego, but you can experience your soul in context to other souls. But if you're only interfacing with reality as the surface of reality, you're probably just stuck in this egoic identification of self. And the ego identifies its body as the self. And so I look at the ego as a carbon identification system. And if you are confused that your carbon is you, then you're probably gonna miss out on your whole life. And at some point it's gonna build up into a catastrophic moment where you snap out of it, or the universe tries to get you to snap out of it. And Gary Vee, I opened this video up with that because he inspired me to talk to it to this point, because he was saying, he gave a great metaphor of like, it was a complex talk or something, and he was saying how, you're driving in the car and it's at nighttime and you're like la 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 and you relax and your hand's like right up here and you're just driving, and all of a sudden the blue and red lights, you see them in your rear view or you see them behind you, and your stomach just twists and you just immediately just feel that, and you feel that feeling, and then the cop car passes you and you're like, oh shit, and your body starts to relax again and you like move back into parasympathetic. But for that moment you were in your butthole got tense and you were in sympathetic nervous system fight or flight response. And I'm just doing a quick little turn around here, and he's saying that the metaphor is like, that's how people are living their lives, that you're relaxed, you're like whatever, and then all of a sudden shit hits the fan and you tense up and you put both hands on the wheel, and for the next four miles after the cop passes you, you go by the speed limit. My apologies for multitasking, but I like multitasking. And I'm not missing out on the opportunity to record this sensation and this vibration in me while I'm parking. And now I'm here. And so the idea that he was presenting is like, most people are living their lives like that, and like, oh shit, and the cop car passes, you're like, oh shit, you relax, but you still have both hands on the wheel, you're not like really paying attention, you're making sure you're going the right way, like you're extra attentive. And then all of a sudden you relax back into that place where you weren't really paying attention, and maybe you turn without your hazards on, or turn without your turning signal, and he's like, people are living their lives like that. It's like, you're not worried about he said, you're not really worried about a supreme hoodie or a backpack when your grandma's sick in the hospital. Those are the moments where you're like woke up and you're awake to life, to the reality of life's impermanence, and you're on, and you need to provide for your family, so you just turn that on a little extra, and now you're really alive. But what does that mean about what you were? It means that you were asleep. It means you weren't really living. And so my implication with Moon Theory is that most of us aren't really living. And that's fine, because we're all choosing our own reality. We're all manifesting our own reality, and we're all creators of our own reality. And if you're not meant to be one of the ones who wake up and ascend into your higher evolutionary state in this incarnation, hey man, it's not going to take away from me and my spiral upward, but it is going to affect you. And in many ways, I feel you as me in this journey, because if you're experiencing depression, anxiety, and suicidality, I feel as if I am you, or at least in a way we share an experience, and so that way we're kinship, we're family in that way, because I have an understanding that not just yoga, but yoga is a big part of me understanding it, but that many things help me understand that we're all one. We're all one family. If you look at it as anything, you can look at it as like a family. And I don't want to see my brothers and sisters throwing their life away, basically. And I'm so invested in this mission, because, in this calling, mission, whatever you want to call it, because I felt it firsthand. And then I saw someone so close to me, and I remember one of the last times I looked directly in their eyes, and we were at a park, and I was like, and my mom had talked to their mom, and they literally said, like, hey, ask them if they're doing okay, because they said that their mom said that they've been kind of, they don't seem like they're doing that great lately. And I remember sitting there in this park, and we were shooting basketballs. It was relaxed, but we were just shooting around and talking about random things. And there was a moment where I like grabbed the ball and I held it. And I just took a beat, and I looked at him, and I was like, yo, are you like, everything's good, or how you doing? And there's this moment where he just looked at me, and he was like, yeah, everything's good. And turned away, and then we went back to shooting. And it was this moment that I'll never be able to forget, because it was the last time I hung out in person with this person, with this soul, in physical form, in this incarnation at least. And now they're like a spirit guide for me. They pop in once in a while, and they remind me that they're part of my mission. Because I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but do you know how many people take their lives every day in America and then on Earth? My mind goes to, why? How come? And I have a personal investment, or a personal connection to this question, because I experienced it, and I made it out, and I prayed, and Archangel Michael came and initiated me into some type of shamanic lightworker program, and I prayed to Yeshua, and I heard Yeshua's voice, and I found yoga, and I listened to synchronicities, and the number 22 started popping up in all these crazy places, and other people would look that I had that tattoo on my wrist and look at me like this, and they were like, oh, my birthday is, and the number 22 would be in it, or 11 would be in it, or they would talk to me about their synchronicities, and I was like, well, then who are we to each other? And all of a sudden it would lead to us making this amazing thing together and becoming like soul family, and realizing that we're soul tribe, and that we incarnated in this lifetime together to remember something and do something, but more importantly, be something together. And then that's lit. That excitement is very difficult to feel like you're missing out on anything when you're in that level of excitement and synchronicity and enmeshment with what is. And so, are you missing out on anything? It's just a question. And if you are defensive enough to just assert and say, no, I'm good, then it's like, I'm not talking to you. But if you're interested in accessing your soul's truth and becoming vulnerable enough to access what's really going on, then that question is just a mirror for you. And just sit with it. And if you have a meditation practice, sit in front of that mirror and allow the breath to be the eyes through which you see yourself through. Because it's just a mirror for you to see yourself in, and to remember who you are in, who you are inside of, who you are becoming, who you have always been, who you had to forget that you were in order to have context of what you aren't so that you can remember what you are. So you have to miss out on stuff, and that's fine. And if you're looking at this from a three-dimensional perspective and you're like, he's not making sense, sounds paradoxical, that's quite right, because I'm speaking from a different dimension that you're not inside of right now. You're not inhabiting right now. And it's really just a reference to your vibration and your emotional, mental, metaphysical, spiritual posture towards me as a reference point, but ultimately towards yourself, because Rocco's just showing up, saying what he's saying as a mirror for your vibration and internal, subconscious, unconscious thoughts and patterns and belief systems that's inside of you. I'm just reflecting that back to you. So yeah, you sure you're not missing out on anything? Life must be lit then. And if not, what adjustment is necessary to bring about such a vibration that you desire? If life truly is frequency, it's all frequency. If life really is just a bunch of different radio stations that we can tune into, and it's just a matter of us dialing our knob. Happy listening to you. Namaste.